Yeah, yeah. What they saying? I'm so divine, I'm so divine. Imperfection, perfection, my presence shine. My mental's parasailing maritime. They say I'm destined to read the palm line. Yeah, I'm so divine, I'm so divine. Imperfection, perfection, my presence shine. My mental is parasailing maritime. They say I'm destined to read the palm line. Yeah, I'm so divine.
Welcome to episode 16.
Sugar.
Doing good today.
Yo, Lance, you still with us?
I'm here. Hey, listen, come on, guys.
Yeah, my man.
I'm a lifer.
I just signed a new deal. They gave me a studio.
I'm a lifer.
I
see you in the background.
I see you, kid. I see you.
I'm tuning in to say, hey, man, it was good while it lasted. Thank you guys for everything.
Who you signing with? Who you signing with? H.G.R.G?
South Beach?
There's this company called H.G.R.G.
All right.
They're taking off.
I know them guys.
They sent me a bag. They sent me some merch. I had to send it back.
Sent you a whole new setup back there.
Yeah, they sent me large t-shirts. They said I look smaller on camera.
So listen, guys, welcome to episode 16. Today we're going to talk about turnover and rent readies. You know, when there's turnover, you got to get your properties rent ready so they go hand in hand. And we want to speak about that and, you know, what costs look like, why turnover happens, you know, and what can you do to avoid turnover? And, you know, what can you do when you have to get something rent ready?
It's going to have to spend. It's going to be
spicy. Again?
It's going to be spicy.
It's going to be spicy. It's going to be spicy.
We're going to tap into that singles and doubles and multis.
Yeah, that if for people that don't know that might learn today, that's DT's biggest argument when it comes to singles and multifamilies.
I've been super humble. I've played the background. You guys have been punching. Today I'm coming out. I want you to have that same energy.
Yeah, DT look like he's locked in, brother.
I'll tell you.
It's okay, man. You got it. You got it.
He's got his Usher 90s outfit on. So with that
slow jam.
With that being said, you know what
keep your day job though. I'm sorry.
What causes turnover, DT? Let's start with that. Let's start with turnover. What causes turnover? You know, and how often do you see that in this industry? You know, why does that happen?
In all seriousness, turnover comes from, you know, just regular people moving, you know, out, changing, you know, upgrading, buying properties, signing new leases, new units. That's the best way, right? To take on a turnover. Then you have people who are holdovers, evictions, you know, tenants who just vacate the property unbeknownst to the owners. You know, things like that is how turnovers, you know, are acquired. What a turnover is when, you know, somebody leaves a property, right? Somebody lives in a property for 6 months, 8 months, a year, 5, 6, 7 years, in a home, a single family home, multi-unit home, apartment, and they just decide to pick up and leave, or, you know, they give their proper notices, 30, 60, 90, sometimes even 6 months notice, and they'll go into a month to month because they decide to buy a house. So they're like, hey, I want to buy a house. Not sure how soon it's going to be, but I'm just giving you a heads up. That may take 6 months. It may take 3 months. It may take a year. Sometimes they'd be like, they change their mind. Hey, I'm not going to buy a house somewhere. I'm going to stay here no longer. So at the end of the day, if they decide to vacate the property, you know, now you got to do turnover. So, you know, you have, you know, painting, broken windows, changing flooring, vanities, light fixtures, cabinetry.
Right. So before you get to the rent ready, because that's going to fall into the rent ready, right?
Is eviction turnover?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So are we going through eviction now, or what's going on right now in the world?
You said I came out spicy. You went there though.
We got because can we evict people right now
in this world right now? This is COVID-19 right now. So I'm
going right in. The moratorium may be lifted this week.
A little birdie said what they said, Lance.
So that looks like the moratorium, the eviction moratorium may get lifted.
I just want to know why you look so happy.
So it's not. Hold on, you're not gonna pay me to be the bad guy here.
Well, I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the bad guy. Second. I'll be a bad guy, guys.
Wait
a second. Wait a minute. All right. Don't paint me like that.
Okay.
But this smile is pain and joy, because I do have some people that need to move on, and whatever their situation is, they haven't paid in a long time, and some people have abused the system, and my hands have been locked. I really haven't had an option, to maneuver. So really, I just have to take it on the chin. So, but once that moratorium is lifted, I can now go ahead and start sending out notices, and maybe I don't want to say threaten, but do the necessary steps that I need to take for people maybe to pay or follow through with the eviction. Yeah. But one of the two things need to happen. And I know obviously just Jerry is going through the same thing. We all obviously have properties together as well.
That's the reason. That's the reason why I said it. You can pay me as the bad person. I'm good with that. I'm definitely good with that. Yeah, I need to have the option, because now you're in my property for 2 years and you haven't paid. So now I have the option to now move forward, or you could get assistance. You get there's programs out there. Now I could kind of push you to go get that program. Not before I couldn't. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm definitely going to agree with you that nowadays there's hardships. So I feel bad at certain times for tenants that I'm going to have to ask them to move on. And there's other people that abuse it. And I'm going to tell you straight, I'm flat. I'm okay letting them move on because they abuse the system. I'm all right with that.
So speaking about the turnover, right? You spoke about turnover, people moving on, getting a property, eviction. When it comes to eviction, usually it's the landlord creating the turnover, because obviously we hate to have turnover. It's bad news.
When you say the landlord creates the turnover, what do you mean by that?
Like makes the push to for the turnover, gotcha. Right? Okay. So everything else that you named, the turnover is the tenant creating that. Maybe they're going to buy a property, they don't want to re-sign the lease, whatever that looks like. But when it comes to turnover, that's something that we hate. But it is created or pushed when it comes to eviction. We're the ones that are moving forward with eviction. Right. So that's one way. I just want to make sure that that line is distinguished, right?
Also, are there pluses and minuses from turnovers? Actually, let me say this way. What are the pluses and minuses from turnovers?
Oh, 1,000,000%. So the plus is that if you're not getting paid, you now be able to get that person out and start to get paid when you get the new person in there. Hopefully, that's the plus. The minus is now
comes with a price tag.
Now you have turnover, so now you got to get rent ready, right?
That's a good segue. That's a good segue, but it's more than just rent ready.
I was interviewing for his job a while back, and I took that away from the interview, so I just wanted to interject that today.
I like doing this job.
He's shooting for the stars right now, but
he's the guy. I just said I was interviewing for it.
And Jerry, you say
obviously I didn't.
It's a lot more than just rent ready for me. So now,
what do you mean by that?
Because you now walk into and don't get me wrong, the new tenant could be an ace. But now we're walking into a conversation of a new devil that we got to walk into, because we now have to understand what the tenant likes on that one, a new tenant. We have to now figure out what's wrong with our apartment or our unit, because now if that person is upset, he or she left knowing they're going to do certain things to our unit because it's going to cost us money more. It's going to cost more money to fix.
Is that in every situation, or is that like?
Oh, that I'm giving you experiences. I'm not giving you. That's not every situation, but I'm giving you experiences.
Okay.
I know a guy. I know a person that left one of my units and threw concrete into the toilet. That's an expensive bill right off the rip.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing when they're leaving. They're mad.
Some of them, correct. Some of them, not all.
Yeah, not everybody. Let's just
let me be clear, 100%.
You know, this is the thing with H.G.R.G. We love to give the horror stories, right? But I mean, just always want to put in perspective, though. This is not everybody, because we just wouldn't have this podcast. We wouldn't have a program that we're working on in the background with people. Obviously, we've mentioned that. There's a lot of things we wouldn't sit here and say our claim to fame is real estate.
Right.
It's something that we love, and it's something we stand on and stand behind. Right. So don't ever get it twisted that when we say these horror stories, that this is just what it is. It's our experiences.
I really want you guys to understand. We could be everybody else and give you the glutes and the glamours of real estate. And you guys will always.
I thought I heard a name right there.
we no. You know, I did not. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But I could do that. We could definitely give you all the highlights of real estate. And then when you get in real estate, you get hit with a couple things that you didn't expect, and you go, nobody told me this.
Yeah. Right.
Well, this is what we do. We're going to give you the good and we're going to give you the bad.
And the other.
And that's where it stands. I am never going to say the bad outweighs the good. I'm never going to say that, but I'm going to give you the bad.
Right.
So that's so it comes with a lot. And making it in the segue of rent ready, turnover, there's a lot of people that get evicted that know they are going to evict it and do a couple things to the unit to make it more expensive for you.
Right. And then when you go get it rent ready, that's when you'll see all the damage that's done, and you'll address it, as best as possible and as quick as possible, so that way you can get somebody else in. Right. So that's the whole point of a rent ready. You're making that property ready for the next renter. So and like I said, we are the type to address everything. You might have some people that just do the minimum. Not saying that that's wrong, but they might do the minimum just to get somebody in, and then handle whatever they got to handle after the fact when a tenant's in there. Right. So, I mean, you like you have different tenants, you have different type of landlords. Right. But now with a rent ready DT.
Before you go, let me ask you.
Go ahead. Yeah. You want to be the host today? Go ahead, D. There's no problem. Go ahead.
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me do my job. A question. Turnovers.
Yeah.
What percentage in your budget should you allocate for turnovers annually?
0, because we do right, unlike your single family.
Yeah. He's selling the dream right now. So people do the 7 to 15%. People do 7 to 15%. They take out 7 to 15% of their gross income just to make sure when it happens, they have the money for it.
Yeah.
So that's the honest truth.
Yep. Okay.
Because if you let Lance say it, he's perfect. So that's
which would be kind of considered a CapEx, right?
Yep.
CapEx expenses.
Let me tell you something, man. Tell you something how I run my shit. Tell you something.
Nobody gets evicted. Nobody leaves. Everybody stays.
Nobody owes me nothing. Nobody's worried about the eviction. The eviction being lifted. Nobody's worried about that in my properties.
That's what comes. You know where it comes that we could say that, and we won't be lying. That's what people do.
Right.
So
I just don't. We can't live on that. We got to tell you the bad and the good and the ugly, man. We got to.
You're right. Like I was telling you, like last episode, you could have painted a pretty picture and not talk about the person that owes you $10,000.
Correct.
Instead of talking about the other 18 people that are paying you, you're talking about the one person that's not, just to be transparent. And just because when we sat down, we spoke about doing a podcast, that H.G.R.G was going to be transparent like this. Because we could all, like I said, like you say, you can make this all, peaches and cream.
Yeah.
But how many podcasts are doing that? How many, shorts that you see on YouTube and TikTok that make real estate look marvelous, right? And you want to jump into it. But you got to hear stuff like this. Yeah. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. There
it goes.
Don't come correct, come prepared.
There it goes.
So, oh man, I'm talking like I'm talking red words.
You sound like you're the host again.
But at the end of the day, and I know we keep reiterating this is because you hear negative things on this podcast. So we got to say it multiple times, so people understand it. We don't want to say it one episode and then you miss it. And then your perception of this podcast is that it's the negative real estate podcast, and that's that.
Any chance we have any real life experiences?
Yeah, I mean,
I just gave you
one right there. I need you to
talk about like a nightmare.
we in our line of business, we have a couple of nightmares, man. But I'm always the bad news straight shooter. So I guess one of you guys, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, have a good time.
DT, give me your nightmare, Mr. Storyteller.
What I was gonna do is I was gonna ask you for a nightmare, and then I was also ask you for a better, the best one. You know what I'm saying? So
the nightmare was the concrete.
It's not really a nightmare.
Look at this guy. This
nightmare.
Let's make it worse for the listeners.
Hey, we're looking for viewers. Let's make
it as bad as possible. And then you have somewhere, they have, because here's the thing. I'm going to flip this real quick, guys, because now you hear about people on Section 8. And nobody wants to deal with Section 8. Nobody wants to deal with anyone on programs. We have Section 8, housing or properties where we don't have to worry about them at all. We don't hear any complaints. Money is on time. They're a great tenant. All the checkups, that's done. Nothing, no bad feedback. I mean, and you would think you hear Section 8, a lot of people go the other way. But some of our best, some of our best tenants are Section 8.
The thing is with Section 8 is they're in a program that once you kind of mess that up, you kind of mess up for life. So they know.
Explain what you mean by that.
That's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
So when you're in the program Section 8 follows you everywhere you go. So if you go from this unit to a next unit, they continue to pay the portion whatever they're paying. Wherever you go, Section 8 follows you. So if you're in my unit and you destroy my unit and I complain and I called the state and said, what is this about? They take it out on the tenant. They remove you. If you go to a house and you destroy a house, then they got to pay, the Section 8 got to pay us $10,000. Then I don't need this type of tenant anywhere. So if you remove that program, they're in a bad situation moving forward.
So they can ruin their Section 8.
Correct.
If they get out of line.
Correct. So that comes down. So when they do leave, Section 8 tenants do leave on turnover, they leave respectfully. They clean up what they got to clean up. They tell you, hey, listen, I'm sorry about this hole. But if you patch it, if I patch it, whatever happens, I'll do it, or take it out the security deposit I gave you. All that happens respectfully.
Is that bulletproof?
Absolutely not. Well, I'm gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you at all.
It's pretty good though.
Yeah. So the average is good, but
I'm listening to you, right? So I'm watching you. I'm like, oh man, that. Why would I not do that?
Yeah, but it's not bulletproof because now
the same way you can call Section 8 on them if they do something like that, they can call Section 8 on you, and even if you did nothing wrong, right? They can call Section 8 on you and use it as a weapon as well. So it can be used against you. So definitely don't get it twisted, right? So like I said, so with turnover, speaking of turnover, with Section 8, there's not a lot of turnover either. You know, in my experience with Section 8, they seem to stay a little bit longer.
Yep.
Right.
No, for sure.
So
that's actually like a fact.
Would you? I couldn't hear you. Would you say?
That's actually a fact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if you get a multifamily and you make it Section 8 ready,
yep.
Wouldn't that be better than a single family cash? No.
When you say better, I say no. But when you say, is it the same scenario? Yes. Is it better? No. My opinion.
It's definitely better. See, I don't want to get into this. I know we're trying to wait. It's definitely better. DT. It's definitely better. It's definitely better.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a referee.
I have two sources of income coming in from one property because it's a multifamily, right? So my ROI is a lot higher, and it's secure now because I secured it with Section 8. Your single family.
So let's be clear. Your ROI is higher.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
Did we say go?
All
right, go. All right, go.
No, I'm just listening.
Go. There you go.
So your ROI is higher. Go ahead.
Oh,
I agree.
He said that.
My turnover is going to be less.
Lies.
Section 8. You just said it was a fact. So how can it be a lie, right? So if you Section 8, we're talking about Section 8 now.
Whoa.
If I keep, if I secure Section 8, in a multifamily,
is going to be less than what?
Say that again.
You said your turnover is going to be less
than your single family cash tenant.
That's not true.
It's true. Tell me how it's not.
So a single family,
and I'm making more with this property.
Wait, fellas.
I'm not going to do it tonight, but let me ask you this. So you're telling me a Section 8 tenant in a multifamily stays longer than a Section 8 tenant in a single family? Is that what you're saying?
No.
That's what you said.
No, it's not what I said. What I said is my ROI is higher. And I said if you have a cash tenant. That's what I said.
So you're balancing Section 8 and cash.
Correct. Because you like single family cash tenants, right?
Oh my God.
I like multifamily.
Jerry, you go ahead, man. You go ahead.
Am I right? Let's save it. Let's save it.
Yourself.
Let's save it. You know what this was? This was the weigh-in before the bout.
It was the fight you weren't ready for.
Because it's gonna happen on this podcast.
You don't have all the answers.
Yo, and that episode, I'm gonna dress up as a referee.
Awesome.
I got to. I have to.
Okay, I tell you what, you both got to dress.
No. Because if I'm in the argument, I'm definitely gonna win.
You both got to dress.
I'm just letting you know. I don't want to be in that argument because it's a win situation for Jerry.
Be clear, before we have the argument, there really is no winner or no loser.
No.
It's a preference.
It's a preference. Yeah, it's absolutely good. You said it today. To be honest,
we're both winners. Let's be real. We're both winners.
Let's be clear.
But we do have a preference, even though, and which I'm going to be very clear, and I'm speaking to the viewers. We own both multifamily and single, so don't get it twisted.
Meaning, we all own.
Right. Yes, correct.
I'm the advocate for singles,
and I'm the advocate for
multis. Even though they're the advocates for multis,
I just go where the money goes. That's where I'm at. We're going there.
So hear me out. So turnover happens in what we do. We've established that. Yeah. How it happens, when it happens, and we also distinguish the line of when a tenant does it and when a landlord does it, right? So now after that happens, we have to make it rent ready. DT, you have a lot of experience in this, right? Especially because your background of contracting. Tell me what you see when it comes to getting things rent ready. What are the main things that have to be hit when it comes to rent ready?
Typical flooring, walls, lighting, doors, locks, windows.
Okay, so you're not putting all new cabinetry, nothing, nothing crazy like that.
Nope.
All new nice light fixtures and stuff like that.
Per market, selective, basically, right? If I'm in a 10, because we value our markets 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
Right.
If I'm in a 10 neighborhood, 7, 8, 9 neighborhood, yeah, lighting, even outlet covers. They're not just the regular white, 39-cent covers. I might, go a little bit more extensive. Doors.
Wait, there's different ones.
Yeah.
No,
There's options.
I'm
Even doors, like 6-panel doors, hollow core 6-panel doors. Rental property is the normal standard. If I'm in a 6, 7, 8 neighborhood, maybe I get a solid door, 6-panel, or a solid flat, or a solid, instead of a regular 80-inch door, I get a 96-inch door. You know what I mean? There's levels to where you're at, 1,000%. On a contracting level, I can go crazy, but as rental property wise, obviously you don't want to just provide the bare bones basics every time, because there's some times where it deserves a higher level quality or whatnot. But yeah, with that being said, there's places you can cut corners. What I do on my rental properties, let me give you an example. All my rental properties are painted the same color. A certain color gray walls, a certain white trim, white ceilings. How do I cut costs?
You buy it in bulk.
Buy it in bulk. Every time I get a rent ready, I don't have to paint the entire apartment. I can just do spot painting because I have the same color.
True. Yeah.
How you cut corners.
So let me give us an example of a horrible rent ready you had.
Before you get into the story, sorry, just Jerry.
Yep.
Before you get into the story, I
No,
want to ask this, because you brought the spectrum, right? The 1 to 10. From the 1 to 10, there's got to be a base that you do in everyone, no matter if it's a 1 or a 10. Is that correct?
No.
No. So you're not
No.
going to do walls no matter what, whether it's a 1 to 10. You're not going to paint. Well,
No.
you're not going to. Okay. No,
because depending on the owner, right? Depending on the person, depending on the area, depending on the property, the location, the tenant, certain people would just say, spot paint this corner. Even if it doesn't match, spot paint it. Other people say, no, paint everything. I want the same color, new cabinets. I want the whole 9 yards. Doesn't matter if it's a 1 area or a 10 area. There's investors that we have, and you guys are part of that it doesn't matter if you buy in a 1 or a 10, you treat them all the same. If you buy in a 10, you treat a 10 like a 10. If you buy in a 2, you treat a 2 like a 10. One of our walkthrough Wednesdays just went through the other day, and it was like, I saw the pictures. I took the pictures and I was like, wow, that's there. Cause I know that's like a 4 area. That looks like a 10 area, but I know the property and I know you guys own that. So I understand that you guys are that way. So does it matter? Does it change? Are there certain people? The answer is yes. It depends on the owner. Okay. Personally, my preference is I treat everything the same. Our preference is we treat everything the same. If I buy a 1, I treat it like a 10. If I buy a 10, I treat it like a 10. Now, mind you, if I'm in the 10, I'm going to have granite, quartz,
finishes are different.
Finishes, light fixtures are going to cost different amounts, but the appearance is going to be the same. Right.
And that's why I was asking across the board. Do you go in there no matter what? If it's a 1 to 10, painting the walls, we're doing the trim, We're gonna make we're gonna make sure.
My bad. You're right. So you asked that question, and I gave you the broad perspective because we deal with a lot of investors, right? So I gave the answer for our investors as well as us.
Right.
So
which is perfectly fine.
Right. So the answer that I gave you was the investor's perspective as well as us. But if you're asking me personally, yes, I paint every wall. I change every floor because I want to create a product that people want to go to and stay.
Right. And that's something that just Jerry, we live by that. We want people to stay as long as possible. And this segues right back to turnover. If our rent readies are looking the way we say they should look, the turnover in return is less, and that's our hope. Right. If we can address everything, if I'm lying, I'm frying here, just Jerry. If we can address everything before they get into the property, we're hoping that the turnover is less because just Jerry said, I want that to feel like it's their home, a place they can rest their head. If you follow the podcast, you know that I just quoted him perfectly there. But at the end of the day, that's the goal. So they both go hand in hand. You're gonna have turnover, then you're gonna have a rent ready. Right. But if you do a great rent ready, your hope is to have less turnover.
What's the difference between the turnover and rent ready?
Well, sorry. No, go ahead.
Turnover is eviction. You're leaving. The tenant's leaving. The tenant's left the unit. Turnover is just the person leaving the unit. Rent ready is now we got to make sure the next person comes in and is a home for them. So that's my explanation of turnover and rent ready.
So it's two different things that go hand in hand that hopefully when one happens, it slows the other one down. I mean, because as a landlord, your main concern is to keep a tenant in that property, a good tenant in that property. And the way you have good tenants is to treat them as such, make sure they have what they need, make sure the property looks nice, and take care of it because you want them to take care of it and you want them to stay. So they definitely go hand in hand, So now I know just Jerry asked you, what was your horror story when you walked into a property that you had to go and make rent ready? What story was that for you?
Oh man, I tell you what, I remember a day, right? When I first started dealing with houses, before I was a landlord, before anything, I was working for somebody. I went to school, so quickly, I shadowed somebody for 6 months, and I learned. I asked them, I want to learn everything you could teach me. I'm going to ask you a million questions. I'm going to work for you for free. I'll be here from this hour to this hour for free. But every question I ask, I need you to answer. And I need you to be there. Wherever I go, I need you to be there. So he did that. I did that for 6 months. So there was a property we went to. And when I got there, he was outside. And he was like, I need you to go inside and tell me what we need to do. I was like, what? What do you mean? Mind you, I'm like 2 weeks in. I don't really know yet. But him being outside told me a lot. I was like, is there a dog in there? Is there...
You're trying to analyze the situation before you get in.
Like a person in there that doesn't want to come out. Is it like, what's going on? You telling me that tells me that there's something inside that you don't want to be a part of. That's when he said that. That's what that's how I received it. So he was like, "Here, take this suit." He hands me a Tyvek suit, like a whole white suit, hoodie, mask, everything. Right. So I put it on. I have to. Mind you, I'm not getting paid. But my soul, I have to experience whatever is there because my brain is like, I need to know what's there.
What's in there?
Yeah, he just challenged me and I got it. I have to do it. So I go inside. There's nothing there. There's nobody inside. There's garbage. There's sofas. There's beds. Pans, pots, food. Nothing crazy. But I expected like a human being dead. I expected to see a dead body or some shit crazy inside. That's what I expected.
Since he dressed you up in that nice suit.
Because he was like Tyvek. Because never before, I never even heard of something like this. But so whatever, I go inside. I come outside, I'm like, everything's good. So he's like, back up. As I'm walking towards him, he's like, yo, back up, back up, back up. I'm like, what you mean back up? He was like, look at you. I look down and my whole Tyvek suit has bugs on it. Bed bugs, fleas. Like it was bad. Like it was bad. When I looked down, I was like, you mother. I'm looking for a person.
You got it.
Yeah, you were the person.
I'm the person. I was the person. He just wanted to, that was the worst thing I ever experienced ever in life. And I'm talking about, it was so bad. Like the exterminator had to be paid a very fair amount to even enter that property. It was that bad.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, guys, listen, before we go, you guys have anything else to say about turnover, or rent readies at all?
I guess is what was me first. Just guys in real estate, I'm gonna tell you this right now. You're gonna go through turnover and you're gonna go to rent ready. Not saying it's gonna be a live or die situation. Just put yourself into the shoes that you're all ready for when it happens. You do have the money, you do have the funds to clear it up, and that's what it comes down to. It. We did not speak about rent ready and rent deposits and securities. I guess we'll do that on part 2, but we could always fight for certain things. We always can fight for certain things if it's like tenants did something crazy to hurt the unit. We could always fight for security deposits and stuff like that.
You just broke it down right there. Hey, part 2, guys, right there.
Yeah, I guess we're doing a part 2. But
fight for your deposit.
Yeah.
I just want to also say it again. Thank you for the sponsors that are sponsoring us. The 4 Keep It One Line, Folks Nation, Loaded Up, and Strong Point. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you guys.
DT, you want to add on to that at all about the rent ready turnovers?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the rent ready turnovers, we spoke a lot on that. What I would what I would add in overall is that we gave a lot of the bad. There's also a lot of good. Jerry says security deposits. Somebody terrorized your property. You charge $1,000 a month for the property. They broke a hole here, there. You take $700 or the whole $1,000 out of the security. The rent ready or the turnover cost you $1,400. They paid the first $1,000. It cost you $400.
That's a huge point. And just Jerry, thank you for bringing that up. And then DT taking that home with an example. So absolutely. I'm glad that we were able to grab that before we ended the session. So I appreciate you guys for your input on that. And once again, guys, we appreciate you. It's H.G.R.G. And we'll be back with another one.
Yeah. What they say? I'm so divine. Imperfection, perfection, my presence shines. My mental's parasailing maritime. They say I'm destined to read the palm line. Yeah, I'm so divine. Imperfection, perfection, my presence shines.